So, as we've discussed in the plan behind Five Thrones lore video, Ludleth, small man and a rather little lord as he calls himself, in fact plays a huge role in the story of Dark Souls 3. And as he's surely an important character, it is quite interesting to try to find out the origins and meaning of his name, as well as the name of his homeland Courland, as it might help us to understand the lore better. I guess you might already know that Courland is the name of historical region, but I've found way more about its meaning that is actually lore related, so don't skip it. But let's start with discussing Ludleth. As for the origins of the name Ludleth, I've mentioned some of possible versions about it in the second episode of Behind the Souls series names video, among other interesting stuff regarding other characters, but there's in fact more interesting info about this name that I'd like to discuss here. So, Ludleth was a rather interesting and a little challenging name to decrypt, as it seems it was created exactly for this character. This name consists of two elements, Lud and Leth, so let's see their possible meaning. As for the element Lud, the first idea that it's derived from Proto-Germanic element Lud, meaning famous, loud. Like in the name Ludwig, which means famous battle. And from this appeared a theory about the second part of the name, Leth. The thing is that in Japanese his name is read like Rudo's, so the second part of the name can be actually read as less, and Leth still obviously sounds somewhat the same in English as well. Then, could his name be something like Ludless in the meaning of fameless, as, for example, we can find him speaking these lines in his dream, or rather memories.
See ye not, I am a lord, a wee flame, belike, but I shoulder the world.
So he speaks that to someone who obviously doesn't recognize him as a lord, and as we discussed in one of the previous videos, it's likely that he wasn't supposed to become a lord at all, and he really cares to prove us his status when we first meet him, so he's aware that he looks rather suspicious.
If substantiation be thy want, set thine eyes upon my charred corpse.
So Fameless theory of his name seems to be a possible one. However, it's not the only possible origin, and not even the likeliest one really, as it's Leth in English translation after all. In fact, this Leth element might have several extremely interesting meanings. The first possible option is that this element has Greek origin derived from word lethe, forgetfulness. In mythology, Lethe is basically the name of river of forgetfulness, one of the 5 rivers of Hades. It's also a root of such words as lethargy, and I believe the mention of forgetfulness along with the sizes of Ludleth really make us, Souls fans, recall certain lines of an old legend.
And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten.
Well, I guess I don't even need to add much to that, and in fact this theory gets even more interesting if we consider another possible meaning of the first part of the name Ludleth, element Lud. So, earlier we considered it to be derived from Proto-Germanic Klud, meaning fame, as it is in rather many names. However, it's not the only possible origin. I've also found that part Lud could in fact be derived from the Slavic element Lud, meaning men, people, which in fact is used in some real-life Slavic names. Basically similar elements are also present in some European languages, like Frankish Ludi or Proto-Germanic Ludis, as they all originate from common Proto-Indo-European root with meaning man, people. So in such case, with Lud meaning man and Leth derived from Lethe, forgetfulness, could the name Ludleth mean the forgotten man?
So easily forgotten.
Almost too interesting, isn't it? Though, Ludleth being that very pygmy is a separate topic for discussion, and we also know about the Nainason theory about him being the pygmy, so it really is a separate topic that I'd like to avoid getting deeper into in this video. Also according to Keth, but can we really trust Keth? Pygmy sought to reach the Age of Dark while Ludleth chose to link the fire to avert the flameless Age of Dark, didn't he? So it would be rather weird for him to be pygmy, but again, I'd like to avoid getting carried away by this topic, as this video is dedicated to the etymology, and for it I simply note possible meanings of the name which are quite interesting really. And basically there's another, possibly the likeliest, theory about the meaning of name Ludleth as Lethe. Forgetfulness isn't really the only possible meaning for element Leth, since aside of possible Greek roots, Leth might also have Proto-Celtic origin, being derived from element Letos, which has several possible meanings. For instance, it can mean large, as in Middle Breton let. A nice contrast, given Ludleth appearance. However, what's really interesting is the meaning element leth has in Old Irish, which is also similar to Welsh led. And this meaning is half. And, well, Ludleth's pretty much missing the lower half of his body. I understand how it sounds, but may Ludleth be called half of man, like Lud meaning man people and Leth for half? However, there's a little better sounding possible meaning of his name, which is probably more likely to be the case here. As the part Lud of the name Ludleth might be not related to the root Lud but be simply an alternative pronunciation of word Lord. So, Ludleth might in fact mean half Lord, as he's both missing half of his body, but what's more significant, he calls himself a little Lord. We flame, and as we discussed in the Plan Behind 5 Thrones video, it's likely he wasn't supposed to become a Lord of Cinder but used a certain trick with the skull ring to become one and give at least a little flame. What do you think about it? We know that usually names of the Dark Souls characters do have meanings, and devs basically do a great job picking meaningful and correct names, as we've discussed in the previous videos, and in this one we've discussed the possible meanings of name Ludleth, which in my opinion were rather interesting. And let's now discuss the name of Ludleth's homeland, Courland, as I believe it also has a very interesting meaning. So, basically Courland is the name of real-life historical region of Western Lat. But why was it chosen as a name for a land in Dark Souls 3? Is it referring to something in history? What is its meaning? Researching the etymology of the real-life name Courland in more detail, I believe I've found something rather interesting that pretty much explains it. This name consists of two parts. Element Cor, derived from root Ker, of the Livonian name of the region, Kromo, and land, meaning of which is rather trivial, it's just land. As for the core part, it might be derived from word core meaning where, or, which is more likely to be the reason it was picked as name for land in Dark Souls 3. Word Kurt meaning to light, to burn fuel. And this meaning basically fits the story of Lord Ludleth, who became a firewood lord or Lord of Cinder by burning himself like a fuel to rekindle the first flame. Doesn't it? So I believe it's pretty likely the reason this name was picked as name for Ludleth's homeland. And in such case its meaning might be interpreted as land of one who burned fuel, or land of burning fuel. And of course this meaning of core element, to burn fuel, would also fit the land of Courland, as it's famous for the forbidden art of soul transposition, which uses the transposing kilns, so the process pretty much implies burning souls in the. And as we know that Courland is now in fact a lost land, it is even possible that it got lost by being burnt as a fuel. As for the names of real-life Courland, Como and KazzArma, both of them mean pretty much the same as Courland, so it was a correct translation into English. Element Ker plus Mo or Zim, which both mean soil, land. So, that's pretty much it for this video. I really hope that it was interesting for you. You enjoyed it as much as I did, because I really like how FromSoft pick the names for their characters. It's always so exciting to get to these meanings. It's really cool. Also, please check out the other episodes of the Behind the Souls series names or other lore videos on my channel, as there's a lot of more interesting stuff there that I really enjoyed, and I hope you'll like it too. Basically, I already have even more videos ready. Some of them are even already uploaded but not yet published, and I barely resisted to publish them now, as at least to me it's really interesting stuff. But I guess it's better to keep some pauses between releasing the videos so it wouldn't be like an attack on someone's feed, and also because I guess each topic deserves to be watched and discussed more or less separately.